being said, it does need to be restructured. I agree with Jean. It needs to be at arm's length from elected officials. I do believe that there need to be performance standards, but I also think that we have to listen to what our community is looking for when we talk economic development. On the west side, we seem to have a great deal of big lots and dollar stores and general stores, and we have more than our fair share of Walmarts. And we have to ask ourselves as a community, is that the direction that we want to go when we talk economic development? Or are we looking more at smart growth, planned growth, or at bringing businesses here that, can we at least look at green growth, can we look at businesses that are good for our community? But to have an entity such as the Chamber that does not currently seem to be meeting the needs of the community is not working, and it definitely is going to have to be restructured. But again, we have to listen to our citizens and also understand their viewpoints of what they want to see come to this community, not just the elected officials' ideas.
More on economic development. What are a few specific actions that you will take to promote job creation in the local economy?
Specific actions to create jobs in the local economy? Is that correct?
Promote job creation.
We have to think outside the box. I know in several years ago, out on Perdido Key, we talked about buying a piece of property or getting a piece of property from the state of Florida to do some soccer complexes and some athletic fields. I know it was mired in controversy, but their hearts were in the right place. One of the things I'd like to do is reapproach the state of Florida and get some, they wanted 120 acres back then. Let's ask for a smaller portion of property out of Big Lagoon State Park. Let's make some soccer fields at Big Lagoon State Park. Not up one dark and dingy, narrow road that turns off onto another dark and dingy, narrow road, so you can have some places out there that don't even have a concession stand. There's a guy on Perdido Key, his name's Fred Garth. He's the president of the Chamber. He runs soccer tournaments year-round. He has people come into our community. Where do they stay? Orange Beach. Where do they eat? Orange Beach. Where do their kids play soccer? Orange Beach. That can be us. That's one solution, kind of outside the box, but you can go to Perdido Key, and eventually that will be a place where a hotel might actually go, where people can stay and eat on the Key to generate a little bit of economic development here. We need to work downtown with IHMC. They've got their Commerce Park going up over by the Civic Center, and that's going to be great. Those are smart jobs. They're going to be there for a long time. Another thing we need to do is outreach to our U.S. military. We're about the only community that doesn't really value, to be honest with you, our Veteran Service Organization. Last year they discussed cutting the one guy that they pay like $40,000 a year that brings in millions of dollars of retirees' money from U.S. military retirees. We're the only place in the state, literally, that has this guy over in he's a little red-headed stepson. Shut up, shut up.
You can't finish your sentence.
You have to know who you are and where you are to know where you're going to go next. When you look at this community and what all it has to offer, it does make it a little difficult to understand how we're not quite getting it right. We have to look at what we have to offer. I tend to disagree a little bit with Dave in the essence that I love the retired military group here. I'm a Navy wife, and I think the military presence here is critical to this. And I think we constantly need to work to make sure that we keep our military, but we also need to look at what the retirees provide here. They don't always sit home and go fishing. A lot of them have small businesses and they employ others. And I think we need to constantly look to nurture that relationship. We have to look at our permitting process. If we make it really difficult for a business to move into this community because we take forever to be able to get that business off the ground if they need to build something, there are restrictions in place for a reason. They do to constantly evaluate the permitting process that we have. We also need one identity. We have great beaches, we have great agriculture, we have a port and airport, we're an hour from the interstate, we have colleges, we have great history downtown, and we don't really have a big image. We need to figure out who we are so that we can promote it as strongly as possible.
One of the highlights of my professional relationship with Karen Sandilla was when she was serving on the planning board. And she was working diligently on the sector plan. The sector plan by the Department of Community Affairs, which so desperately needs changing at the state level, was a plan that involved over 10,000 acres of land, generally speaking, north of Beulah Road and 9 Mile, all the way up to Century at the Alabama border. 9 to 12,000 acres of land, depending on who you're talking to. That plan was one permit before the state of Florida. It was the consolidation and elimination of multiple levels of effort, and it was a designed community. It's still underway. We're in a process of going forward with the state now. And the reason I bring it up is that it was one of the things that I agree with Karen on, is that we must design our community going forward, because zoning came into Escambia County in 1992, and the comp plan soon after, and it was a confusing mess on how we developed our community from an economic point of view. The commissioner went like this, and then went like this, and he got his permit. And we all know it happened, and it ain't happening anymore. And I think the commissioners we have now are trying to turn the course and put us on the map by getting our land development code in place, which drives to a strategy and the answer to your question on economic development. You cannot have a good economic plan if the guy wanting to come to town can't figure out how to get to first base and get a shovel in the ground. If he has to go through 20 departments to get a permit and still can't figure out if he's compliant, we have done something wrong. That has changed geometrically in the last 4 years on this job. In the last 4 years on this job, we told the administrator, take it down from 19 different departments. He's down to about 7 bureaus. We call them bureau chiefs now. There was a consolidation within the general fields of service so that they could understand what the different departments were doing within their general realm of scope. Similar scope, I should say. But to your specific question of what we've done to improve economic development, actions speak louder than words. On October 4th, 2007, we wrote a financial plan. But it belongs not in the hands of the county commission, it belongs in the hands of an economic development authority, which I promised to bring to you in my second term. The authority will manage not only this incentive plan, but others that they can manage in a more cogent fashion.
Will you support further efforts to consolidate the city of Pensacola and Escambia County? So I think we start with. Yes. I'll go.